Good morning, all of you. So, government budget, I'll start today, chapter number 17. Okay. In that, what portion are there in your syllabus? That you people need to understand first. Okay. So, under this, if you open your book, page number 317, okay, in that you see government budget is given. So only meaning of government budget is there in your syllabus. Need and importance of government budget is not in your syllabus. Types of government budget is not in your syllabus. Only we'll start with the component of the government budget. Okay, so we'll do the meaning that is given in page number 316. What do you mean by budget? And then we'll start with page number 319, that is component of government budget. In that component we have to study even classification of budget receipt, okay, and capital receipt. All we people have to study under this. And then after that we have to study about the last topic, that is types of budget deficit. In that we'll study about revenue, fiscal and primary deficit. Is it clear? So I'll just turn the camera and I'll show you what portions are there in your syllabus, and then I'll start explaining you the government budget. All right, so see, open your book, all of you, and see in your book right now. Okay, now see this. If you see the chapter's name, that is government budget, in that you see meaning of government budget is given, and what is given in the block letters only you people have to learn. I'll explain you this. This is the meaning. The budget is an annual financial statement describing in detail the estimated receipt, proposed expenditure and disbursement of the government under various heads of the financial or fiscal year. Is it clear? And financial or fiscal year, this still here. Is it clear? Then a little elaboration. It is a description of the fiscal policy, that is taxation and government expenditure policy of the government, and the financial plan corresponding to this policy. All right, this much we people have to write under meaning. Under meaning. Is it clear? In page number this. After this, if you see need and importance is not in your syllabus. So this is not in your syllabus, so just cancel it. Next page, types of government budget, is also not in your syllabus. We'll start with the components of the government budget. This we have to study. Okay, components. Under this we have to study everything. All these things we people have to study. That is given in page number 319. Then we have to study about the classification of budget receipt. Under classification of budget receipt, you have to learn about revenue receipt, all the points, and capital receipt. Is it clear? Under capital receipt we people have to study till here. Okay, then classification of government expenditure. Under this, plan and non-plan expenditure, revenue and capital expenditure, okay, developmental and non-developmental expenditure you people have to study. Okay, then this much till here you people have to study, that is given in page number 324. And then directly you will study about the three types of that is given in page number 325, types of budget deficit, that is revenue deficit, fiscal deficit and primary deficit. This much we people have to study under the chapter budget. Is it clear to all of you? Now see, so let us start with the meaning of budget. What is given, just see all of you in the book. Okay, what I have made you people underlined. Okay, there, see the budget of the government. What is budget? What actually is budget? Budget, you know that every year budget is presented by finance minister. Okay, when finance minister present the budget every year 1st of April. Okay, and 1st of April every year finance minister of India present a budget in the parliament. Okay, and then discussion is done, and then if the members of the parliament will pass it by 2/3 majority, then for the coming financial year that budget is going to be implemented. That is the process. But what that budget contains, what is there inside that budget? About budget is about two things. First one, the revenue, and second one, the proposed expenditure. Is it clear? The revenue receipt and proposed expenditure. Now revenue receipt means how in the financial year government earns the revenue, receive the revenue, that, and what are the areas where government is going to incur that revenue which the government has earned through taxes and non-tax, that they will show in budget. That is called proposed expenditure. So budget is about two statements. First statement is the revenue receipt. Second statement is the proposed expenditure of the government. Is it clear? And next, you see what is given in this. The budget of the government is an annual financial statement. This is the key word. Annual. Why annual? Because every year budget is passed. Every year. Like 1st of April 2020, 1st of April till 2021, 31st of March. This is called the financial year. And in this financial year, how much, from where the government is going to earn the revenue, earn the income, and we incur that income. That is called proposed expenditure. That actually is mentioned in the budget. So it is a financial statement of 1 year. That's why we write annual financial statement. So budget is an annual financial statement, and it describes what? It describes in detail about two things. First, revenue receipt, and second, proposed expenditure and disbursement of the government. डिसबर्समेंट, जितना भी डिसबर्समेंट, जितना भी खर्च गवर्नमेंट करेगी और जितना भी एक्सपेंडिचर गवर्नमेंट को करना है करेंट कमिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में, वो सारी चीजें बजट में मेंशन रहेंगी फॉर द फाइनेंशियल और फिस्कल ईयर. Is it clear? Is called budget. So budget, you have to remember three things. First thing, annual financial statement. Second thing, about what? About detail revenue receipt and proposed government and proposed expenditure and disbursement of government. Proposed expenditure and disbursement of government. For what? For the financial year. Is called what? Budget. Is it clear to all of you? Now see what is given in the block letter, that the budget of the government is an annual financial statement. First keyword, describing the describing in detail the estimated receipt, means estimated income, and proposed expenditure and disbursement of the government under various heads. Under various head means, you know that government has various, government has agricultural ministry, government has financial ministry, government has commerce ministry, government has external affairs ministry, government has foreign affairs ministry. Several ministries are there. So that is what disbursement of the government under various head. मतलब जितने भी खर्चे सरकार करेगी सारे heads के द्वारा, मतलब सारे ministry, सारे department में, वो सब mention होता है budget में of the financial year. Is it clear? Is called budget. So all of you just read along with me. You'll able to understand what is budget. The budget of the government is the annual financial statement describing in detail about two things: the revenue, the estimated receipt, and proposed expenditure and disbursement of the government under various head. In place of head, you can write under various department or ministry. Head, ministry or department, you can write anything. In place of head, you can write ministry also. In place of ministry, you can write department also. For the financial or fiscal year is called budget. I hope you people have understood the meaning of budget. So this much you people have to learn in the meaning of budget. Okay, then a little elaboration. It is the description of the fiscal policy. I have already discussed the fiscal policy when I was doing a discussion about the measures to correct adverse balance of payment. In that I told you, and we have done the meaning of fiscal policy also. What is fiscal policy? The economic policy of the government, under which government uses its economic instrument to achieve the objective of economic policy is called fiscal policy. That we have already done. So budget is the description of the fiscal policy, and fiscal policy includes what? Taxation and public expenditure policy of the government and the financial plan corresponding to this policy. Is it clear? मतलब जो भी financial plan government ने किया है इन fiscal policy instruments को use करके, उसका description किस में होता है? Budget में. Okay, so budget of the government is the annual financial statement describing in detail about the estimated receipt and proposed expenditure and disbursement of the government under various heads, ministry or department for the financial or fiscal year. What it describes? It describes the fiscal policies, that is, which are the fiscal policies? Taxation and public expenditure policy of the government. All right. Oh, and the financial plan for these policies is actually mentioned in the budget. Okay, so I have explained you today just now the meaning of fiscal policy. So just I'll show you in that what you people have to learn. Now see, the budget of from here you will learn extra things are not needed. The budget of the government is an annual financial. This is a key word. Without this, don't write the meaning of the budget. Describing in detail about what? Estimated receipt and proposed expenditure and disbursement of the government. Okay, under various heads for the financial year or fiscal year is called budget. Okay, that is called. This much you people have to write under meaning. If the question comes, what do you mean by budget? That this much you people have to write under the meaning. Now let me start directly with the components of budget. Okay, components of budget. So budget is, you see, under components of budget. Okay, the components or structure of government budget, you know that budget is about two things, revenue and expenditure. Okay, now you see budget is necessarily presented in two part. हमेशा budget को दो part में present किया जाता है. पहला होता है revenue budget, दूसरा होता है capital budget. Is it clear, all of you? Okay. Now, before this, once you see here, the constitution of the country demands that the budget and distinguish expenditure on revenue account from the expenditure on capital account. Revenue account covers those items which are of recurring nature, while capital account covers those items which are of nature of creating or reducing the capital assets. Okay. Now, accordingly, budget is, these things no need to understand. You need to understand only one thing, that budget is necessarily presented by finance minister in two parts. What are the two parts? Revenue budget and capital budget. Is it clear? So under the components of budget, what are the components of budget? Revenue budget and capital budget. Now we need to understand the meaning of revenue budget, which is of two types, revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. Then we have to study about capital budget and the types of capital budget, that is capital receipt and capital expenditure. Is it clear? Now, so let me explain you the components of the government budget. Okay. Now try to understand what I told you. I have explained you the meaning of budget. Now I am going to start with the components of the government budget. Components of government budget is actually are of two types, revenue budget and capital budget. Okay, then we'll study about the revenue budget, and revenue budget is of two types, that is revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. In fact, capital budget is also of two types, revenue capital, okay, revenue that is capital receipt and capital expenditure. Is it clear? So now we need to study that what do you mean by revenue budget. Now see, all of you in the book, revenue budget shows revenue receipt of the government and the expenditure meet from these revenue receipt. Okay, तो revenue budget क्या include करती है? Revenue budget include करती है जितनी भी revenue receipt है government की. ओके, अब रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट किससे मिलता है? रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट टैक्सेस से मिलता है, नॉन टैक्सेस से मिलता है. रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट मीन्स व्हाट? द इनकम अर्न्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. सो रेवेन्यू बजट, द फर्स्ट कंपोनेंट ऑफ द बजट इंक्लूड्स द रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, एंड उस रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट को गवर्नमेंट ने कहाँ कहाँ खर्च किया वो इंक्लूड होता है रेवेन्यू बजट में. या रेवेन्यू बजट में गवर्नमेंट ने कितनी लोन ली, उस लोन अमाउंट को कहाँ खर्च किया, ये इंक्लूड नहीं होता है. रेवेन्यू बजट में वो इंक्लूड होता है जो जिसपे सरकार के ऊपर कोई लायबिलिटी नहीं होती है. लायबिलिटी मतलब जिसको सरकार को वापस नहीं करना होता. अब सरकार जो भी इनकम कमा रही है किससे कमाएगी? टैक्सेस से, नॉन टैक्सेस से. सो जब गवर्नमेंट टैक्स इम्पोज करती है, हमने ऑलरेडी आई हैव एक्सप्लेन यू दैट टैक्स इज अ कंपल्सरी कंट्रीब्यूशन फ्रॉम द सिटीजंस ऑफ द कंट्री टू द गवर्नमेंट, and where government provide common benefit to the people, not any special benefit to the taxpayer. That we have studied. So taxes create no liability on the government. So revenue budget, the first component of budget, include that part of revenue receipt which government earned through taxes and non-taxes, और उस अमाउंट को गवर्नमेंट कहाँ एक्सपेंडिचर, कहाँ पे खर्च कर रही है, वो रेवेन्यू बजट में इंक्लूड होता है. इज इट क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू? सी द वीडियो प्रॉपर्ली चिल्ड्रन, देन ओनली यू विल एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. एंड ओपन योर बुक. Okay, now see the revenue budget, what is written in the book. Revenue budget shows revenue receipt of the government, and the expenditure met from these revenue receipt. ठीक है, तो रेवेन्यू बजट में गवर्नमेंट क्या प्रेजेंट करती है कि कहाँ सारे रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट जो वो ले रही है और कहाँ कहाँ उस रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट को खर्च कर रही है, वो सारा पहले कंपोनेंट ऑफ बजट में इंक्लूड होता है, जिसको कहते हैं रेवेन्यू बजट. अब नाउ it is of two types. Revenue budget is of two types. First is revenue receipt and second is revenue expenditure. क्योंकि revenue budget में क्या कर रही है गवर्नमेंट, revenue budget क्या इंक्लूड करती है, revenue budget इंक्लूड करती है revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. तो revenue budget कितने टाइप्स के हो गए? दो टाइप्स के, revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. Next you see what is revenue receipt. Revenue receipt of the government are all those receipts which are non-redeemable. Non-redeemable means what? जिसमें गवर्नमेंट को कोई भी लाइबिलिटी नहीं होती है. Liability means where government collect that money and for government no need to return the money or no need to pay any rate of interest. That is called revenue receipt. Further, revenue receipts of the government are all those receipts which are non-redeemable. Non-redeemable word ही आपको यूज करना है. इसका क्या मतलब होता है? Next line. They create no liability which involve no sale or reduction in the asset of the government. Revenue receipt include what? Revenue receipt comprise tax revenue like income tax, excise duties, non-tax revenue, ठीक है, like interest received, dividend, profit. ये सारे example है revenue receipt के. What is revenue expenditure? Expenditure incurred by the government on day-to-day normal functioning of the government. Day-to-day normal मतलब रोज हर ये जो करंट फंक्शनिंग गवर्नमेंट को करनी है, उसमें जो भी गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर करती है वो किसका हिस्सा होती है? द सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ रेवेन्यू बजट, दैट इज कॉल्ड रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर. ओके, सो एक्सपेंडिचर इनकर्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑन डे टू डे नॉर्मल फंक्शनिंग ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट एंड इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट ऑन गवर्नमेंट डेब्ट. हाँ, अब इसमें वो क्या करती है, जितना भी लोन गवर्नमेंट ने ले रखा है उसका इंटरेस्ट पे करने के लिए जो गवर्नमेंट पे करती है वो किसका पार्ट होती है? रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर. सो जितनी भी डे टू डे ट्रांजैक्शंस गवर्नमेंट करती है और जितना भी इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट करती है गवर्नमेंट अपने लोन्स पे, वो सारे पार्ट होते हैं रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर के. एग्जाम्पल देख लो. These expenditure neither create any physical or financial asset nor reduce any liability of the government. The items of revenue expenditure are expenditure incurred on law and order, defense, interest payments, subsidies are the example. Is it clear? Now, let me turn the camera and let me tell you people how much you people have to write about the first component. So what is the first component of budget? Revenue budget. What do you mean by revenue budget? Revenue budget shows revenue receipt and revenue receipt of the government and the expenditure met from these revenue receipt is the part of revenue budget. Revenue budget is of two types, revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. What is revenue receipt? Revenue receipt of the government are all those receipts which are non-redeemable, means they create no liability on the government. What are the example? It include revenue receipt comprise tax revenue. The revenue earned from taxes is the main source of income under revenue receipt. What is revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure is the expenditure incurred by the government on two things. First, on day-to-day functionings of the government, and second, on the interest payment on government debt. What it includes? It includes expenditure incurred on law and order, defense, interest payments, subsidies, etc. Now see all of you in the book how much you people have to underline. Now see. So components of the government budget is of two types. First is revenue budget, second is capital budget. Okay. What is revenue budget? Revenue budget shows revenue receipt of the government and the expenditure meet from these revenue receipt. This much is the meaning of revenue budget. Now, revenue budget is of two types. Number A, revenue receipt. Number B, revenue expenditure. What is revenue receipt? Revenue receipt of the government are all those receipts which are non-redeemable, means they create no liability. They create no liability. Till here is the meaning of revenue receipt. And what are the example of revenue receipt here? Revenue receipt comprise tax revenue like income tax, excise duties, non-tax revenue like interest receipt, dividends and profit of public sector enterprises, and receipts from various services rendered by the government. ये example है. This is the meaning and this is the example, okay, of revenue receipt. Second is revenue expenditure. What is revenue expenditure? Relate to the expenditure incurred by the government on day-to-day normal functionings of the government and interest payment on the government. Just now I explained you. What are the example? Revenue. The items of revenue expenditure are expenditure incurred on law and order, defense. This is the example. This is example and this is meaning. So just now I have explained you first component of budget, that is revenue budget. I hope you people have underlined. Now let me explain you the second component of government budget, that is capital budget. Okay, now what is revenue budget? Revenue budget shows various revenue receipt of the government and the expenditure met from these revenue receipts. Then what is capital budget? Capital budget comprises capital receipt and capital expenditure of the government. ये दो चीजें include करता है जो second component होता है. Capital receipt और capital expenditure of the government is called capital budget. Is it clear? Now, under capital budget, what is the most important part is this, that it shows capital expenditure of the government and financing of these expenditure. Okay? Now you see under whatever capital budget is presented by the finance minister, it create liability on the government. Now it is of two types. What is the first one? Capital receipt. Now what is capital? Are the receipt of the government which create liability or reduce assets of the government. मतलब जितनी भी property है, gold reserves है government के पास, वो सब कम होती है जब government capital receipt पाती है. तो कैसे capital receipt हो पाएगी? जब वो लोन लेती है और जब अपने गोल्ड को, अपनी प्रॉपर्टीज को दूसरों के पास गिरवी रखती है, तो वो पार्ट जो होता है वो कैपिटल रिसिप्ट में इंक्लूड होता है. दैट इज व्हाई यू सी द मीनिंग ऑफ कैपिटल रिसिप्ट. कैपिटल रिसिप्ट्स आर द रिसिप्ट्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट विच क्रिएट लायबिलिटी, मतलब जिसको गवर्नमेंट को प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट वापस करना है प्लस रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट वापस करना है, एंड रिड्यूस एसेट्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. देन द मेन कॉम्पोनेंट, व्हाट आर द कॉम्पोनेंट? बोरोइंग ऑफ ऑल काइंड. आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, जितनी भी लोन गवर्नमेंट लेती है वो सब कैपिटल रिसिप्ट्स का पार्ट होती है. Then what is capital expenditure? Capital expenditure are those expenditure of the government which leads to creation of financial, physical and financial assets or reduction of financial liabilities. ठीक है? Under capital expenditure, under capital, whatever expenditure government incurred, it lead to creation of physical and financial assets. ये create करती है physical और financial assets. And also it reduces the financial liabilities. What are the example? Example है such expenditure incurred on creation of physical and financial assets like land, building, machinery, equipment. So इससे क्या हो रही है? Creation हो रहा है किसका? Stock of capital का. Plus also shares and in granting loans and advances to the state government and public sector enterprises are the part of your capital expenditure. Is it clear to all of you? Now just see in the book and underline the second component of budget, that is capital budget. What is capital budget? Capital budget comprises capital receipt and capital expenditure of the government. Till here? Okay, this is the meaning. Now, it is of two types. The first one, capital receipt. What is capital receipt? Are the receipt of the government which create liability or reduce asset of the government. What it includes? Example, the main components of such receipts are borrowing of all kind, loans raised from public, borrowing from RBI, foreign loans, repayment of loans, advances to the central government by the state government, all are example. These are the example. Then what is capital expenditure? Capital expenditure are those expenditure of government which leads to creation of physical financial assets or reduction of financial liability. Such expenditures incurred on creation of physical and financial assets like land, building, machinery, equipment, shares, and in granting loans and advances to the state government and public sector enterprises. Is it clear? So this much we people have done. So today I have completed meaning and components of budget. Okay, so what is the meaning of budget? That I have explained you. What are the components of budget? It is two. First is revenue budget, second is capital budget. Revenue budget is what? Revenue budget shows the various revenue receipt of the government and the expenditure met from those revenue receipt. Revenue budget is of two types, revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. Revenue receipt are the receipts of the government which are non-redeemable. Revenue expenditures are those which government incur on day-to-day transactions and also repayment of interest payment. Then what is capital budget? Capital budget comprises of capital receipt and capital expenditure. Capital receipts includes the receipts which create liability and which reduce the assets of the government, like all the borrowings. What is capital expenditure? Capital expenditure are those expenditure of government which leads to creation of physical and financial assets or reduction of financial liability. A physical or financial assets मतलब जब government इंक्रीज होगा, लैंड, बिल्डिंग, मशीनरी, इक्विपमेंट्स, ये सारी चीजें जब इंक्रीज होती हैं तो वो होती हैं किसका हिस्सा? कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर का. इज इट क्लियर? नाउ one more video I'll upload. In that I'm going to explain the other topic of the budget today itself. Okay, so just now you see this video. If you have any problem, you can call me and you can discuss your problem with me. Okay, thank you children.